Hi, this is my second video. In this I am going to talk about fundamentals of air conditioning system, which I am covering what is air conditioning, basic refrigeration cycle and designing of AC system. Now we will see one by one. Nowadays air conditioning is no longer a luxury and it is an absolute necessity due to climatic changes, higher pollution and unclean surroundings. The necessity for improving our environment both at home and workplace is felt. So air conditioning will play a major role in fulfilling this objective. Now what is air conditioning? Air conditioning is not only reducing the temperature than atmospheric, it is controlling the temperature and relative humidity of air inside the conditioned space. And not only controlling temperature and relative humidity, apart from that, it should be a filter air. So filtration of air and containment of airborne particles within the limit. Third one is adding sufficient amount of outside fresh air to control the oxygen level and carbon dioxide level inside the conditioned space. Fourth one is providing proper pressurization in the space. So this will talk about the air conditioning requirement. It is again I am summarizing: temperature, relative humidity, filtered air, fresh air and pressurization. These are all required in air conditioning space. Yeah, now we will talk about basic refrigeration cycle. You all are aware the basic refrigeration cycle contains compressor, condenser, expansion valve and evaporator. And you all know the duty of each and every component. That is the low pressure, low temperature liquid from the expansion valve, it is entering into the evaporator. There the refrigerant picks up the heat and becomes low pressure and low temperature gas. This low temperature, low pressure gas enter into compressor. There it pressurized to high pressure and high temperature. It becomes high pressure and high temperature gas. The high pressure, high temperature gas enter into condenser. There it loses its heat and becomes high pressure and high temperature liquid. So this high pressure and high temperature liquid in the expansion valve, it gets reduced to low pressure and low temperature liquid. It becomes to low pressure and low temperature liquid. The cycle repeats as it is. Now we will talk about designing of AC system. So here I have made it into various steps. So we will talk by step. So step 1 is basic information, collection of basic informations and details from customer and architect. Step 2 is preliminary works for heat load calculation. Step 3, working out heat load calculation. And step 4 is get the output, heat load output. And step 5, inputs required for AC equipment selection. Now I will elaborate each and every step. First I will elaborate about step 1. Step 1, if you see that, what are the basic informations required to be collected? I have listed out. One is site location, site visit, location of air conditioning space, orientation of the building, architectural drawings and details of the building, glazing details, type of application, duration of AC operation, temperature and relative humidity requirement, filtration level requirement, if any, availability of water for cooling tower, and electrical power availability, whether it is LT or HT. Now we will see little elaborative way. Now first one is site location. So from the geographical location, because why it is required is unless you know the location, you cannot decide the ambient conditions as per ASHRAE and ISHRAE. So site location is vital. That information you have to collect it, and from there ASHRAE or ISHRAE you can consider pull out the design ambient conditions. In India, May is a MAPIC summer and our design is based on May. Next point, site visit. Site visit is very much essential. See, all the projects you will not get a new project from open ground. Some of the majority of the projects you will see it will go to the existing buildings. So the site visit is a vital thing, and then only you will understand the location, physical location of the building and the surrounding of the building and the areas, condition space where it is located. All the inputs are required for working out the heat load. Next is location of air conditioning space. As I told you, even the existing building, it may be a 10-story building, and in between you may client would have called you for to do the air conditioning work at the third floor level. So the location of the air conditioning space you have to go along with the client architect and then discuss and find out. So which will help you to find out the exposed wall locations, partition wall location, glazing area, how much it is there in the site. So all these informations you will collect when you are going to site visit and the location of the air conditioning space when it is identified. Next is orientation of the building. Drawing, you have to get the drawing with the orientation, and that will help you to precisely work out the heat load. Architectural drawings and details of the building. You have to collect the complete architectural drawing of the building, including sections, beam details, false ceiling height, if anything is specified, and the interior layouts, so that you can design a better system. Next point is glazing details. This is a very important thing. Unless you know the details, you cannot work out the heat load precisely. So collect all glazing details and mark in the drawing. If you check in whether it is all are available in the drawing, and also the properties of the glazings what architect is going to use, you have to collect it. So which will help you to work out the heat load very precisely. Now then you have to discuss about type of application, whether it is going to be an office area or restaurant, or it is going to be a showroom or residential, industry. In industry, whether it is a pharma, then hospital or hotel, data center, etc. All the informations you have to interact with the client and architect and collect all informations. Next is duration of AC operation. When you are collecting the application details, you can find out from the client whether are they going to operate round the clock or particular 8 hours operation. So with that you can decide the chiller capacity very precisely. Next is temperature and RH requirement. As a designer, you know comfort temperature and relative humidity required for the human being, but still some of the application requires low temperature with low RH, and some will be low temperature with a slightly higher RH. So that information, so you have to, unless client says, it's difficult for you to decide that. So collect those kind of informations. What is there in any specific temperature and relative humidity requirement is there in the air conditioned space. Next is filtration level requirement. See, for this industrial application, some of the clean rooms, when we are talking about clean rooms, the filtration level you have to find out. You have to find out from the client whether they want class 1 lakh or 10,000, 1,000, 100, 10, etc. So accordingly, you can design the entire AC system precisely, very precisely. So this information also is basic information. First, before starting your heat load, you have to collect. Next, we are going to talk about availability of water for cooling tower. See, you all know that water cooled chiller will be more economical operating cost. It will give you operating cost will be lesser compared to air cooled system. So, but if you select a water cooled system and if there is no water available in that site, then there is no point in going for a water cooled system. So for that you have to find out, you have to collect informations from the client whether water is available, and you have to just suggest what's the makeup water requirement, and if it is going to be 8 hours operation or 24-hour operations, so what is the water demand per day basis, you have to communicate to the client. Then client will decide whether to, it is, he may get the water or he may not. So unless you give the inputs, he cannot decide on this whether to go with a water cooled or air cooled system. Then by collecting the information, you can decide whether to go with a water cooled or air cooled. Next is power availability. This normal commercial application and all, you will go with the 415 volt power availability will be there. But industrial application, you may have LT as well as HT power source also available. So collect those kind of informations before design any air conditioning system. So these are all the basic informations you have to collect before start your heat load calculation. Now we are going to talk about step 2. Step 2, we are preparation of the preliminary works to start our heat load calculations. So number 1 is plot the outdoor and indoor conditions in a psychrometric chart and find out the values of enthalpy and grains. You have to note down in your calculation sheet. Next is work out the exposed wall areas orientation based on the orientation of the building and based on the architectural drawing dimensions. Collect that information like material of construction of the wall, which will play a major role. So this kind of information you have to collect and arrive the U factor. If it is an apart from normal brick wall, if there is going to be something else, you have to find out what is that U factor, work out that U factor before start up your heat load. The same thing is applicable for partition wall also. Next is based on the architectural drawing, work out the glazing area, how much it is going to be there in the for the conditioned space. So you have to find or calculate the glazing area orientation wise, and then collect that glass details from architecture and the properties of the glass, what is the resistivity, what is the reflectivity, etc. All these informations you have to collect it from the architect. Next, work out partition and the shaded wall areas as per the layout drawings and based on the material of construction. If it may be a partition wall, may not be a brick wall, or it may be a something aluminum partition. So such kind of information you have to collect it and arrive the U factor. Similarly, partition glazing area also you have to work out, because nowadays all office areas you can say cabins we will have inside the office area all will be with glazings. So you have to work out that area which will play a major role in your heat load calculations. Next is fresh air quantity. This you have to work out based on ASHRAE and ISRAE or carrier standards and arrive the air quantity before calculating your heat load. You have to discuss with the client and architect that how many people are going to occupy the space, or you can take the interior layout drawing and then work out the number of occupancy. But my suggestion is you discuss it in detail with the client and architect and note down the number of occupancy. Next is, apart from occupancy, you have to find out from the client whether are they going to use systems, and based on number of occupancy you can decide number of systems available, and any other load which is going to attribute heat to the conditioned space. So you have to find out and list out all those informations, kilowatt rating of the motor, everything before start up your heat load. And similarly, lighting load. Lighting load also you have to find out from the client, and because it all depends upon the intensity of the light they want inside the conditioned space, and particularly if it is going to be a showroom, so then you have to get the correct informations from the client. There your lighting load will be, internal lighting load will be very heavy, and you have to consider in the heat load. Next, based on the occupancy and application, type of application, you have to note down what's the sensible heat and latent heat from the occupant based on the ASHRAE, ISRAE and carrier guidelines. So the solar heat gain, whatever you are going to based on the glazing area, you have to consider 4 pm is the peak load, and all your calculation has to be based on 4 pm. Then for the wall heat gain, you have to work out from ASHRAE or carrier guidelines what's the equal temperature difference for the exposed wall, and note down all that information in your load calculation sheet. So after doing all this preliminary work, then you can start your heat load calculation. Most of the things you will do the heat load calculation in a Excel calculator sheet. So you can enter all the values whatever you have worked out, and then work out the heat load. It will give you the output. Okay. So first point is enter all the values in step 2 in the Excel heat load calculator sheet. Next, false ceiling height. If you know false ceiling height, yes, you have to specify. Then it will automatically work out what's the fresh air requirement based on false ceiling height. And the roof height also you have to specify. Then if there are some exhaust, like a laboratory, if you see that through the fume hoods you will exhaust a lot of air, so that is going to be the major load to the lab area. So if there are such kind of exhaust system is there, continuously it is going to operate, then you have to consider and derive the fresh air quantity accordingly. Now your Excel calculator, heat load calculator will work out the heat load, and what are the output you will get from that is, number one is what's the tonnage requirement. estimated cooling load you will get in TR. Then you will get what is the dehumidified air quantity in CFM. Then apparatus dew point, you can get it. So now you, based on your heat load, you know what's the capacity cooling load requirement for that particular area, and what's the air quantity requirement, your pressure quantity, everything you know. So now based on all this output information, now you have to select the major equipment. So here I am going to talk about what are, because all contractors will not manufacture components, they have to get it from some other vendors. So what are the, from the vendors, what are the equipments you are going to get? It should suit to your requirement. So for that purpose, yes, what kind of inputs you have to give it to them so that they will select the correct equipment and then give it to you. So for we are in this step, we are going to talk about what are the inputs we have to give it to the vendors. So first we will talk about chillers, water cooled. Major equipment only I am going to talk. One is chiller, second is pumps, cooling towers and air handling unit. Now first we will talk about chiller. Chiller, you know, we are having air cooled and water cooled. So first we will talk about water cooled. So you have to specify the chiller capacity in TR, each chiller what capacity you require, then number of chillers you have to give, type of chiller you have to specify whether you want a centrifugal or screw, then graphical location of the site you have to tell the vendor, ambient wet bulb temperature, then you have to specify fouling factor for condenser and chiller, power supply what you are planning, whether LT or HT. In some cases you must be having a centralized cooling tower and from there you will get condenser water. So in that scenario you have to specify what's the temperature you are going to give and what is outlet leaving temperature you require. Both the temperatures you have to specify. If it is an independent dedicated cooling tower for the chiller, then you need not to specify the things, and you only based on the wet bulb temperature they will you have to specify what's the cooling tower outlet temperature you will get. Next you have to specify whether plant manager is required or not, and in the plant manager you have to specify what are all the equipments you are planning to control through the plant manager. Next you have to say that the chiller you are planning to install in basement floor or rooftop or a dedicated plant room adjacent to the building. Another important thing is you have to specify whether you want variable primary chilled water pumping or constant chilled water pumping, so that they will select the chiller accordingly. So these are all the inputs you have to specify to the vendor for the water cooled chiller. Now we will see for the air cooled. Here also you have to give the chiller capacity of each chiller, what's the TR and number of chillers, and type of chiller, screw you have to specify. Then here also you have to specify geographical location of the site, ambient. Here in air cooled you have to specify both ambient dry bulb as well as wet bulb, and maybe you have to specify summer condition as well as monsoon and winter. Next, fouling factor for the chiller. Power supply you want LT or HT. Here also plant manager requirement, if any. If you are planning for a plant manager you have to specify that. Then location of the chiller, you have to specify where it is going to be located, in the rooftop or a separate open space. So these are all the inputs you have to give it for the air cooled chiller. Now chiller we have seen, we will talk about pump sets. First we will talk about condenser water pump set. You have to specify condenser water flow rate in GPM or CMH. Then total pump head you have to, in meters or feet you have to specify. Then type of pump you have to specify, horizontal split casing or vertical split casing or inline pump. Then mechanical seal, nowadays all pumps are coming with mechanical seal, but still better to specify that. Next, impeller material is cast iron or bronze, you have to specify. Then other ancillary items like coupling guard, base plate, those things are required or not, you can specify that and then give the input to the pump vendor. Next we will talk about primary chilled water pump set. This is also identical to condenser water pump. You have to specify chilled water flow rate in GPM or CMH. Total pump head you have to specify, and type of pump, horizontal or vertical split casing or inline pump. Next is mechanical seal, whether it is required or not. Impeller material cast iron or bronze. Then pump speed, here primary, if you are going with a primary chilled water pumping system, then you have to go with a VFD drive, variable speed frequency drive you have to give. Or you are going for a constant speed, constant primary chilled water pump sets, then you have to specify. So you have to specify pump speed whether it is constant or variable. If it is a variable, then you have to ask vendor to supply the variable frequency drive panel also. Now secondary chilled water pump set. This is also like same inputs you have to give: flow rate, total head, then type of pump, mechanical seal requirement, impeller material, and pump speed, whether it is a constant or variable. Then VFD panel, you have to ask for the panel. Now we will talk about cooling tower. Cooling tower, you have to specify type of cooling tower, whether you want natural draft or induced draft. Then water flow rate you have to specify in GPM or CMH as per the chiller vendor selection. Ambient wet bulb, you have to give the input to the vendor summer as well as monsoon. Next is condenser water temperature, what temperature you want at the cooling tower outlet, that you have to specify based on the chiller vendor. Next is condenser water out temperature, what from the cooling tower as specified by the chiller vendor. See, this I am trying to say, if chiller is selected for 30 degrees centigrade condenser water inlet temperature, then your cooling tower outlet should be 30 degree. Or if chiller is selected for 32, then you can ask for 32 degree outlet. So that is the meaning of that. Next is specific cooling tower dimensional space restriction. Some cases you will not have sufficient space to install your cooling tower. Client may insist to accommodate within that space. So in such a scenario, you have to specify what's the space availability, and accordingly you have to ask the vendor to size the cooling tower. Next, cooling tower location, you have to specify whether it is going to be a rooftop or just outside the, if plant room is in the basement and the cooling tower is in the ground level, such kind of location you have to identify, you have to tell them, so that they can select the cooling tower as per the requirement. Now we will talk about air handling unit selection. So the first input is type of AHU you have to specify, that is whether it is a single skinned or double skinned, whether you want floor mounted or ceiling mounted, you want horizontal AHU or vertical AHU. If it is a double skin AHU, you have to specify whether you want with the thermal break or without thermal break. Then air quantity of each AHU in CFM or CMH you have to specify. Then fan total static pressure you have to mention in terms of mm of water column or Pascal. Then ambient temperature, that is for fresh air you are going to take, so you have to specify the ambient dry bulb, wet bulb, both summer and monsoon. Return air temperature, both dry bulb and wet bulb. Then you have to specify what are all the sections you required in the AHU, like mixing box, filter section, coil section, fan sections, etc., depending upon your requirement. Then type of fan, you have to mention you want centrifugal, forward curve or backward curve, EC fan or plug fan. And this is now actually coil phase velocity you have to specify. It should not be more than 500 fpm. So coil selection should be always lesser than 500 fpm velocity, phase velocity. And number of fins in cooling coil not less than 12 fpi. Then coil size, whether you want half an inch coil or 5/8 inch coil. For the fan selection, you have to specify what's the fan outlet velocity you want. See, actually here the supplier will play around. So they will select the fan velocity around 15 meter, 18 meter, like that. To reduce the cost, they will do that. So you should be very careful. You limit the fan outlet velocity and inform the vendor to select accordingly. Then material of construction of the AHU should be casing material is either GI or aluminum. Then you want plain or powder coated. Framework extruded aluminum. Insulation material, whether it is going to be a puff or rock wool. Then thickness you have to specify whether you want 25 mm or 50 mm. Cooling coil tube and fin material you have to specify. Coil drain pan shall be made out of SS304 and it should be insulated with a minimum 10 mm thick insulation. Then volume control damper, what material you want? You want whether GI or extruded aluminum, that you have to specify. Supply, return and fresh air dampers also, it should be a part of the AHU, you have to specify that. Then specify filtration level requirement, but up to whether 10 microns, 5 microns, 3 microns or 0.2 microns, like that. Okay, so in this I have just made the presentation up to equipment selection, what are the inputs you have to give. And if you have any doubts or any questions, or if you require any more further details, please reach me at hvacdesign40@gmail.com. Thank you very much.